what Kevin Durant has said as candidly as I can. Kevin Durant, to be clear, he didn't lie. He's basically pointing out how the narrative out there is pointing the finger at a lot of black players in the NBA. People questioning their level of commitment because of the money they were getting paid and all this other stuff. He's not totally wrong there. Actually, he's not wrong at all. He's just incomplete. And that's the thing to bring up here. When we've talked and lamented the state of affairs with NBA All-Star Weekend,
Kevin Durant didn't just make a comment this week. He lit a match and tossed it into one of the NBA's most sensitive conversations. Why the All-Star Game feels broken, hollow, and borderline unwatchable. And instead of looking inward at himself, his peers, or the veteran culture that has shaped the modern All-Star experience, KD pointed outward, across the Atlantic, toward Europe, toward Luka Dončić, toward Nikola Jokić, toward the world players.
Yeah, we don't read between the lines on this show. We blaming all y'all. we don't read between the lines on this show. We blaming all y'all. It's accountability on everybody, from the young guys to the old guys to the Europeans to the Americans, everybody. It's on everybody to take a step up and just do a little better. Once again, we're not asking you guys to go out there and go full throttle and get hurt, but just give the fans what they deserve.
Yeah, I think making an All-Star game is an honor, and it comes with a responsibility. Put out a good product for the fans and for the league, and so. I get it,
According to Durant, the decline of the NBA All-Star Game isn't on the old heads, the American veterans who have turned the event into a shoot-around for nearly a decade. No, it's on the Europeans, the guys lying on the floor, the guys shooting from half court, the guys who don't care. That's the hill Kevin Durant chose to stand on.
Talking about one. And while Kevin Durant isn't wrong, he's incomplete in what he's saying. Kevin Durant has made that point to me. Hey, why don't you guys give everybody else that? And I'm 100% with you. When we talk about NBA players, we are talking about black NBA players because they're 75%, and these guys are the torch bearers of it. But they are also, when you talk about LeBron and Steph and KD, these guys are the leaders in the locker rooms when these guys put forth no effort. When Oscar Robertson and Larry Bird and Adam Silver have to go in there and beg the NBA players to go out there and play, and then they go out and put up a 200-point performance, that gives credence to things that people are saying. David, I'm not saying that you're wrong when you're saying that the language is coded and that people are saying these guys are lazy, they don't earn their money and everything else. You're absolutely right. But you are incorrect when you say that All-Star games were never competitive. They were only competitive in spurts and points.
And in Hardwood Talks fashion, we need to ask the real question. Is KD speaking truth? Or is this a classic case of deflection from a superstar staring at his own reflection? Because when fans complain about the All-Star game, they're not dissecting passports. They're watching effort, or the lack of it. They're watching possessions without defense, jog through rotations, and stars laughing while the scoreboard ticks past 180 points. They're reacting to what's on the floor, not where the players were born. And that's where Durant's argument immediately starts to wobble.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what Kevin Durant said. I think it's a broader conversation than just that soundbite, right? I think that the All-Star Game, All-Star Weekend has been in the decline since 2016 in some way, shape, or form, and fans have become frustrated with the product. Now, granted, nobody's expecting guys to go out there and play like it's the NBA Finals, but you want to see a level of effort. But collectively, all NBA players have had a part in the decline of All-Star Weekend and the All-Star Game and what it means to the fans, right? So if you're going to single out the Americans, you also have to include, you can't single out the Americans and not include the international players.
The All-Star Game didn't fall apart when Luka Dončić entered the league. It didn't collapse the moment Nikola Jokić became an MVP. The erosion started years earlier, when the league's biggest American stars collectively decided the All-Star Game was beneath them, when defense became uncool, when half-court threes replaced competition, when effort was framed as risking injury instead of honoring the fans who made these careers possible. Kevin Durant has been part of that culture, not as a villain, but as a participant. This is the same generation that normalized the idea that All-Star Weekend is a brand appearance, not a basketball contest. Smile for the cameras, get your buckets, avoid contact, fly home healthy. The tone wasn't set by international players. It was set by veterans who already had their accolades, their contracts, and their legacies secure. And now, as the league shifts to a Team USA versus World format, suddenly the finger points outward. What Durant is really reacting to isn't European indifference. It's scrutiny. It's the growing discomfort of being questioned. It's the reality that fans are no longer willing to excuse poor effort just because the names on the jerseys are legendary. KD framed his comments as calling out a double standard, suggesting American stars, especially older ones, are unfairly criticized while European players get a free pass. But here's the problem. That double standard doesn't actually exist in the way he's describing it. If anything, European players have long been framed as the opposite of what Durant claims. They're viewed as gritty, physical, hardened by tougher systems, less coddled, less flashy, more fundamental. Around the league, European players aren't treated as freeloaders, they're treated as grinders. Coaches openly praise that background, executives chase it. College coaches joke about recruiting vodka-drinking Eastern Europeans who wrestled bears, not because they're lazy, but because they're tough. So when KD suggests Luka and Jokić don't care, fans aren't hearing accountability, they're hearing defensiveness. Let's be honest about Luka Dončić and Nikola Jokić in all-star settings. Yes, they joke. Yes, they experiment. Yes, they take absurd shots. But so does everyone else. That behavior isn't uniquely European. It's universal across the event. LeBron has done it. Steph has done it. KD has done it. Kawhi has sleepwalked through entire all-star appearances. The difference is this. Luka and Jokić don't pretend the all-star game is something it isn't. They don't sell intensity they aren't providing. They don't posture about competition while jogging through possessions. Durant, on the other hand, is pushing a narrative that conveniently shifts blame away from the veterans who shaped this era of indifference. And here's the deeper layer that makes this conversation uncomfortable. KD alluded, implicitly, not explicitly, to race and perception, to the idea that Black American stars are labeled lazy while European players are framed as fundamentally sound. That's a serious accusation. And if that were the dominant narrative, it would deserve serious discussion. But that is not what fans are talking about right now. Fans aren't dissecting racial stereotypes. They're watching a product that feels empty. They're watching stars who conserve energy instead of competing. They're watching a league that keeps changing formats instead of addressing the culture. The NBA didn't move to Team USA versus World because Europeans don't care. They did it because the All-Star game, as constructed by veteran norms, stopped working. It lost tension, it lost stakes, it lost meaning. And here's the irony. The best basketball we've seen in recent years, the most intense, physical, emotionally charged games, came when those same European stars faced Team USA on the Olympic stage. Serbia pushed the Americans. France pushed them. The gap closed. The intensity spiked. Why? Because it mattered, not because of nationality, because of stakes. Which brings us back to Kevin Durant. Now 37, still great, still elite, but undeniably closer to the end than the beginning. This moment feels less like trash talk and more like legacy anxiety, like a veteran sensing the ground shifting beneath him, like a star realizing that the next generation, international and American alike, isn't interested in preserving traditions that no longer serve the fans. The truth is simple, even if it's uncomfortable. If NBA veterans are tired of being questioned, the solution isn't deflection, it's effort. If you don't want fans criticizing the All-Star game, make it watchable. Guard someone. Contest shots. Compete for a quarter. Give people something worth remembering. Nobody cares where you're from when the ball tips. They care whether you care. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players of all time. That's not up for debate. But greatness doesn't grant immunity from criticism, especially when you've helped define the very culture under scrutiny. Blaming European stars doesn't fix the All-Star game. It just delays the real conversation. And the real conversation is this. The NBA's biggest names, past and present, have to decide whether the All-Star game is a celebration of basketball or just another commercial break, because fans already know the answer. The question is whether the players are ready to accept it.